Hello Motorrad World fans, and what we have here is Kawasaki's brand new ZX10R machine, and as you'll see from the official presentation video here, there's a lot of new changes Kawasaki say to the new machine, but in actual fact it's not that new. There's been some updates from the 2016 model. The most noteworthy new changes are obviously in the styling department with the new front fairing design, with those integrated winglets now, the new dash, and finally the Knight Rider dash has left the Kawasaki ZX10 and they've got this new dash. Still not as flashy and flamboyant as some of its rivals, but hey, they've got a new dash. It's got electronic cruise control there, it's got an internal cut key, that's very, very nice, but not really a new model, rather than an updated model from the 2016 version. So what we have on test here is actually not a road version of the new ZX10, but a ZX10 that's already been put in somewhat track condition or track setup, and we're going to test it around the Red Star Raceway to feel how the new, in inverted commas, / updated ZX10 feels. It's hard to believe that it's 2022 and it's only the first time we're getting to sample the new 2021 Kawasaki model. That's because very little of them came into the South African market. This one has been put in a little bit more of a track trim, so it's got the track trim fairing and a couple of other go fast parts, but still very much a standard motorbike, so it'll give us a good idea of how the new Kawasaki ZX10R feels. So why has it taken us so long then to get our hands on a new green machine? Well, that's because very few of these new Kawasaki ZX10s actually made it into the country. I think probably between 8 and 10, with the new shipment of 2022s arriving shortly. So we were very lucky to get our hands on this particular one from our mate Tyrant Papa, who will be racing it in the MRSSA Racing Series in the Open Superbike class this year. So he's taken all the road bits off, put on the CNC race body kit and acropopic pipe, standard electronics, standard engine and all that, standard suspension and all that for now. So it's still very much a standard bike, pretty much just with a race body kit on it, and we were going to just see and feel the new ZX10 for the first time. In previous years, you couldn't really knock the ZX10 too much. It kind of did everything you wanted it to, but it was good, solid, sturdy, reliable, but it just didn't have that zest, that je ne sais quoi factor that its rivals had, the Ducatis, the Yamahas, the Aprilias. It just got on with the job and got on with it neat and tidy, was good, solid, performing, fast, but it just didn't wow you. And the updates to the bike, I'm kind of falling more in love with the styling. The first time I saw it, I was horrified, didn't like it at all. The more I see the bike, especially in track trim, I'm starting to really like those integrated wings in the front fairing, offer 17% more downforce. You know, is that really to us or more to Johnny Ray and those kind of guys? Well, you know, I think it's more to the, you know, flat out kind of racing guy. Did we feel it out on track? I couldn't really tell you, to be honest. What I could tell you is that the new riding position has changed. So they've raised the pegs up even more, and they've lowered and put the handlebars a bit more forward, so you're in this real jockey kind of position, and it was a little bit uncomfortable, to be honest. I won't lie. It put a lot of pressure on the wrists, on the knees as well. It was hard to move from left to right on the bike, so I didn't really like the new comfort of the bike. What I did like was the higher raised screen. I did like the new fairing. It did feel like it gave me as the rider in the corners a bit more support and cover, so I did like that. I like the fuel tank in that, but like I said, between the bars and the foot pegs, I did battle to move around a little bit. The new ZX10 also gets a longer wheelbase, and it's always been a bit more sluggish compared to its rivals in the handling department to me, especially in stock kind of road trim. It just, doesn't flick from side to side as fast and as nimbly as its rivals, and this was no different really. It just feels long, it goes long around the corners. Obviously that longer wheelbase gives you more stability, so the stability was great, especially through the fast corners. But in the tight twisty stuff here at Red Star Raceway in the dog bone section here that we're going through now, it did just feel a little bit more sluggish and hesitant and lazy through this section compared to some of its rivals, even in this track trim. Some updates and refinements have been made to the engine, which is now Euro 5, still pushes out that 200 horsepower on the crank, so it's still a fast machine. The previous bike had very long gearing, so it had a wide spread of power, which kind of made it feel lazy in a lot of places, especially out on track in stock trim. On the road it was nice because you got this long spread of power. The new bike's got 2 teeth taller on the back, so it does make the gearing a bit shorter. The owner of this bike went even shorter with the gearing, and it was way too short. It very much was a screamer. You felt like you were on an R6. You just were screaming through the gears every 2 seconds. So that was a little bit disappointing and off-putting a bit, but the power was there. The engine was nice and fast. I could feel the power was there. Just got to manage it a little bit better with slightly longer gearing, and better fueling would definitely make the bike a lot better to ride and more manageable. The throttle response wasn't the great. It was very on-off. You couldn't just get off from trail braking, crack on the gas and carry a smooth throttle feel and response through the corners. It was very on-off, so that was a little bit off-putting and made it hard to really get the best out of the bike, the engine, the performance of the overall machine. The electronic suite on the new package has been refined and updated, and I could feel that the traction control worked nicely in the background. It wasn't very intrusive. I didn't even know it was there, to be honest. Wheelie control as well. It just felt like I was in control when it came to the overall electronics of the bike. The only electronics that did feel intrusive was the ABS, and this has been a problem with not only this current ZX10 model but previous models. The ABS is just a little bit too intrusive, a little bit too controlling, especially out on the racetrack. So I didn't really like the feel of that. It took away the feel from the brakes as well. The brakes worked and were good, but the feeling was just a little bit inconsistent and a little bit off-putting in the mind. You just didn't feel like you were grabbing the brake and it was always going to be fierce and nice and strong. You were kind of just doubting the brakes every time you grabbed that lever. I enjoyed the new dash. Thank goodness the Knight Rider dash from all those years gone has finally been taken off the ZX10 model. It's brought it much more in line with its competitors, although like I said earlier on, it's still behind. In my mind, it's not as flashy and extravagant and flamboyant as certainly like the BMWs and the Yamahas and the Ducatis, but it's a lot better. It really is a lot better. It shows you everything you need. It's easy to understand and operate. I like all the modes, how you can go in and customize and preset modes. That's a very nice touch. So yeah, impressed with the dash. But just like the rest of the overall feel of the bike, not completely blown away by the new Kawasaki ZX10. Yes, it's won all those world titles, and in the hands of Johnny Ray, it's a weapon. But I think in the hands of the general public and in group tests, certainly in stock trim, it's still going to fall quite away in certain departments behind its competitors. But at the end of the day, it's still a modern day 200 horsepower superbike, and with all the tech and power you could possibly want to go out on the road or the track and enjoy, and priced at just under 350,000 Rand, you do get plenty of motorcycle for that money, and it's well priced in the very competitive 1000cc superbike market.